Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Couth guide for Pokerogue. Today we are going to be talking about how to farm candies in Pokerogue so you can get the unlocks for your Pokemon you want, such as their passive, make them cheaper, or even get those eggs so you can try to get the coveted shinies they have. Let's get into it. Something to be noted before we really get into everything, we're going to be using the word candy a lot in this video. The candy farming guide is getting Pokemon specific candies, not rare candies, though they are a part of it. So just be sure you have those two separated, and I'll do my best to make sure I'm clear on which one I'm talking about. First things first, whenever you're doing a candy farm run, make sure you are doing it in either classic mode or one of the challenge modes. You get 3 times the amount of candies in those modes as compared to endless. The concept behind farming candy is that we want to force double battles as often as possible and boost our friendship. The candy gain formula works very, very similarly to the friendship formula. In fact, it's exactly the same, with the only difference being you don't lose points in your candy meter whenever your Pokemon faints, so you don't have to worry if that happens. So, by forcing more double battles so we can KO more Pokemon for more friendship, stacking Soothe Bells, and stacking rare candies as often as we can in our Pokemon, that is how we will farm the most candy we can. So let's talk about your order of priorities for what you want to get on a run. First and foremost, Soothe Bells. You want to grab these whenever you see them. You only need up to 3 if you are farming on just one Pokemon. If you're farming 2, you need 6, 3, you need 9. I would not recommend trying to farm candies for more than 3 Pokemon at a time, and I'll get into more why later, but just keep that in mind. Second of all, you want to force double battles through lore and lore abilities. Next, you want to grab any rare and rarer candies you see and put them on the Pokemon you are farming candies for. After that, you want to get Pokeballs. In Classic and Challenge modes, when you max out your Pokeballs at 99, it removes them from the battle reward pool, making it more likely for you to see lures and rare candies. If you don't see any of the aforementioned things, you can grab anything you think might help your run go a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. Just use your judgment on that. If you want to beat Classic, you can make this a little more important. If you're just trying to farm candies and you don't necessarily care about winning the run, you can ignore this entirely. Let's talk about forcing double battles. In a previous video, we went over lures and lure abilities and how exactly they work. If you haven't seen that video, I highly suggest it, as is a very important concept in farming candies. To give a quick summary though, you are always going to want to have 2 lures or lure abilities active at any given time to guarantee any wild Pokemon you come across will be a double battle. If you want double battles on boss waves or floors that end in a multiple of 10, you're going to want to have 3 lures or lure abilities active as well. By doubling the amount of wild Pokemon, you actually quadruple the amount of candies you get, because you also will have 2 Pokemon out and you'll be KOing 2 wild Pokemon per floor. So each Pokemon you have out will get double the amount and you have double the Pokemon yourself out, hence quadrupling your candies. Next up, we have Soothe Bells. Soothe Bells are the most important thing, in my opinion, in farming candies. I take these over Master Balls, I take these over Egg Vouchers, I take these over Lures. It's going to depend on how much you have unlocked on your account. If you're a newer account, you'll probably want the vouchers instead of a Soothe Bell. But if you're just grinding candy for one particular Pokemon, Soothe Bells are incredible. Every Soothe Bell increases the amount of friendship you get from KOing Pokemon by 1.5. So you get 50% more friendship, and these stack additively up to a maximum of 3 Soothe Bells or 2.5 times the normal amount of candy you would get. Again, this only works for battles and does not apply to any candy gain you get through rare candies. Those will always provide the same amount. Finally, we have rare and rarer candies. Whenever you use these on your Pokemon, they get a little bit of friendship and therefore they get some more candy gain meter to get them closer to getting a new candy. Something to note, candy jars do not increase the amount of friendship and candy you would get from your rare candy. Yes, all this candy is confusing, but just candy jars do not make you get candy for your Pokemon faster. Something to note. Alright, so now that we've talked about what items you want to be on the lookout for during a run, let's talk about the team you want to bring. First of all, of course, it's gonna be the Pokemon you're farming candies for. That makes sense. Just add it to your team. You need to take a look at that Pokemon and its moveset. Is that Pokemon able and strong enough to clear out double battles on its own? For this, you're looking for strong spread moves that have very few immunities. Moves like Fiery Wrath are really good. Origin Pulse can also be very good. Earthquake is fine, though it will struggle with flying types, obviously. If the Pokemon you're farming candies for can clear out double battles effectively on its own, that will change up which supporting Pokemon are best to bring with it. If the Pokemon you're farming for can carry double battles on its own, you want to prioritize things that have lure abilities, or ideally, double lure abilities. Patrat, which becomes Watchog, is the only Pokemon in the game that can get 2 lure abilities simultaneously, also has an amazing supporting move pool. You could bring that, especially if you have the passive unlocked. You can also bring things like Tatsugiri. It comes with Core Enforcer, which is a fabulous spread move, in addition to its own lore ability in Commander. If the Pokemon you're farming candies for cannot clear out double battles effectively on its own, you are going to want something to fill that role. Again, let's go back to Tatsugiri. It gets Core Enforcer as an egg move, it gets Fillet Away, which drastically boosts its speed and special attack, and it has a lure ability. This can carry an entire run on its own, clear out double battles on its own, and is very, very helpful and is my go-to. After that, you have your utility mons you can stick in the back of your team. These are things like Honey Gather mons, Pickup mons, and even a Pokerus mon, just to make sure you're staying ahead of the curve on levels. There are 2 Pokemon in the game that have both Honey Gather and Pickup, those being Cutiefly, and the cheaper alternative is Pachirisu. Cutiefly advantage is that it gets Sweet Scent and Covet through level up, both of which are very good for some mystery events. On the other hand, Pachirisu is a lot cheaper and also gets access to the move Nuzzle, which can help you catch things if you need them. Finally, you can just do a cheap Pokerus again, just to keep your Pokemon up to max level as fast as possible. It's not strictly mandatory, but can be a nice little quality of life thing. The last member of a team is something I've been experimenting with, and my jury is still out on it, but it definitely has benefits. It is not mandatory by any stretch of the imagination. That is Nincada. Nincada gives you a lot of interesting things you can do with it. First of all, when Nincada evolves, as long as you have an open spot in your team, it will give you a Shedinja as well, but it also duplicates the items. It also duplicates your luck. So if you get an early Soothe Bell or 2, you can put them on the Nincada before it evolves, along with any other items you have, berries, shell bells, multi-lenses, anything. Evolve the Nincada, and then afterwards you'll have double of all of those items. It is a great way to get extra Soothe Bells to fast forward how much candy gain you get. If you get incredibly lucky, you can also fuse the Pokemon you're farming with Nincada. Make sure you fuse the Pokemon you're farming for first, Nincada second. You should still get a fusion Pokemon that is the Pokemon you're farming for and a Shedinja afterwards. You can unfuse both of them after it evolves, and therefore you will now have 2 Pokemon on your team for the one you're farming for. I haven't tested this out in particular because getting a DNA Splicer in Classic is very inconsistent, especially early on before you'd want to duplicate your items anyway. So it's still something I'm working out with, but being able to duplicate your items like Soothe Bells, duplicate your luck, and the potential to duplicate the Pokemon you're farming for double candy gain, I think it could be very, very good. However, Nincada is 4 points or 2 with both cost reductions, so it can be a little tough to fit into your team. Finally, let's talk about farming for more than one Pokemon on a run. Whenever you have a Pokemon such as Tatsugiri or someone else that can clear out double battles in a single move, you can swap the other slot out, and both Pokemon that would be in that slot over the course of the battle will get progress towards getting their next candy. So for example, if I use Tatsugiri, I can use Core Enforcer turn 1, and in my other slot, swap my second Pokemon out with another Pokemon I want to get candy for. Tatsugiri will one-shot the wave. All 3 Pokemon, Tatsugiri and the 2 other ones, will get candies. This lets you farm candies for up to 3 Pokemon on a run. However, this does require extra button presses and is a little bit slower. Whether or not you want to take the time and do all that, or you just want to pound through the waves farming for 1 or 2 Pokemon is completely up to you, but it is possible. Farming for more than 3 Pokemon just isn't efficient, and you're not going to get an even spread, because you'll either have to swap Tatsugiri or whoever your double battle clearer is out as well, or you're going to be swapping between 3 Pokemon the second slot, but ideally you'll be one-shotting the wave and won't be able to do that anyway. That's just about everything. Once you get all of this set up, the game plan basically becomes stack Soothe Bells as fast as possible, force double battles as often as possible, and get as many rare and rare candies as you can. You're going to be sprinting through floors, spamming your spread moves to quickly clear through everything, and get as much friendship and therefore candies on your Pokemon as possible. Again, if your Pokemon faint, that's okay. If you're struggling to get through a floor, don't force it and just feel free to start over. It's okay, it'll happen. Hopefully this was all helpful. Hopefully there's some good tricks and tips in here for you guys. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments below, and let me know what else you want to know about Pokerogue. Thank you so very much for watching. Keep an eye out for my next video, and have a great evening.